Okay, so good day, everyone. It's the 30th of April, 2020. This is Jeremy Medeiros out on Nonsuch Island, Bermuda, carrying out nest checks and weight and growth checks of all of the Cahow chicks out here, which there's 10 of them on Nonsuch Island. The total number on all nesting islands this year seems to be 68 chicks, which is a bit down on last year's 73, but the good thing is that all of the chicks this year seem to be in really good shape. So I'm going to just now be checking on the CahowCam chicks, CahowCam 1, number 831 nest, and CahowCam 2, number 832 nest. One thing I will mention is that I'll be opening up the big heavy concrete lid on the nest chamber. The actual entrance that the birds use is about 7 or 8 feet away. There's a long entrance tunnel because these birds will only accept totally dark nest chambers and such. They're deep enough so that there's no light in the nest chamber at all. So what you see is by infrared light, which neither the birds or us could see. JP Ruja will be monitoring this from home. He's recording this and is providing the link so that I can bring this check to you today. It's a beautiful day. We had some heavy rain a few days back, and it's been beautiful spring-like weather since, but gale force winds are forecast for tomorrow, so that's why I'm out here now doing all of this work. Okay, so without further ado, I'll take the lid off, CahowCam 1 nest, and boy, this chick is certainly maturing now quite rapidly, getting quite vocal, quite noisy. He wasn't fed last night, but he was fed, I believe, 2 or 3 nights ago now. Feels like he's lost a little bit of weight, and that's normal. They usually reach a peak at about 2/3 development, about 2 months of age. He passed that last week and reached, I think, a top weight of about 454 grams, which is very heavy. Any Cahow chick that gets over 400 grams is a healthy fat one, as we put it, fat chick or dumpling. And so it's down probably a bit. I expect it's probably below 400 grams now. Now, the CahowCam 2 chick was fed the last 2 nights running, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was close to. One thing you can tell, though, his face is what we call facial whitening. The contour feathers I give adult seabirds, like the Cahow, their aerodynamic streaming is coming in, and you can see it's very distinctly white on the face there, and that's yet another sign. Also, the tail bump on the end is getting longer and longer, and it won't be very long now before I can actually see the tail feather at the end of it. So that will happen this week coming over the next probably 4 or 5 days. So I'm going to get a weight for our chick so far. See what he's up to. He is getting very talkative. He's also exploring the entrance tunnel that leads to the outside from the nest chamber, and that's something that they commonly do, chicks, as they get to the final month or so of their development. It takes them about 90 to 100 days normally to, from hatching to fledging. And this bird right now is probably at about 60 or 65 days of age, so about 2/3 fledged. It's got about another 4 weeks of development, 3.5 to 4 weeks to go. Yeah, it's still pretty heavy, surprisingly heavy, almost 400 grams. Let's see, 417. So minus the weight of the bag, which is 22 grams. That will be 395 grams. So that's still a very good weight, 395. 395 grams. Still puts them in the top percentile, although this year we have a large number of very healthy, well-fed chicks. Last year we had more chicks. We had 73, but there were very few that were what I would call healthy weights or higher than average weights. Most of them were well below average, and almost a dozen had to be taken into care and given supplemental feeding to save their lives. So, but this year, they're all fat, well-fed, contented. The adults are feeding much closer to Bermuda, and that's probably a big factor in that. You don't have to go as far. Wing chord is certainly growing. It's 166 millimeters now. I think it was 162 on the last one. No, 152. So that's growing at about a centimeter every 2 days. That's normal. So 166. Okay. So, and you can see these long, lengthening wings. They're really getting quite long now. Still have more than 10 centimeters of growth per wing to do. So I'm going to bring the chick in, and again, if I can, you can see how long these wings are getting. Now imagine, basically, these will have about another almost foot of length on them by the time all is said and done over the next month. They are growing at about a centimeter every 2 days, or maybe even a bit more than that for a well-fed chick like this. You can see the white facial feathers, the black hooked beak, those long wings, which is using for balance now and such, the large webbed feet, and the feet are essentially completely developed. These feet, in fact, this bird, I can and probably will band it already in the next week or so because the legs are fully developed. They're the first part of the body of the chick that reach adult size. And so the legs, in fact, are probably a bit fatter than an adult's legs because they have a lot of baby fat in them, fat deposits. The adults tend to be more muscular and sinewy. So this bird could be probably banded right now with no problems whatsoever. You can see these big webbed feet that they have, which they really don't like to be touched at this point. They get they're like a teenager. They get touchy, it's like, don't touch me, what are you doing, and everything. Don't touch my hair. I know, I've raised 2 children myself, so I know from whence I talk. And it's like you're saying, the long, lengthening tail bud. You can see there's the tail feathers right there. Tail feathers are starting to emerge. They'll become increasingly visible over the next week. So our CahowCam 1 chick is looking really good, really healthy, very, very happy with its development to this point and everything. And we'll just continue to monitor it and hope that it continues to have regular feeding visits from both of the parents. I think the parents are showing they really benefited from that year off where their breeding failed, their egg did not hatch. I gave the parents a year to rest and recuperate, get into good condition, and this is reflected in an exceptionally heavy and healthy, well-fed, and happy chick. Okay, so I'm going to put him back. Okay. Now, without further ado, put it right back into the nest and replace the concrete. Okay, so we'll go down to the CahowCam 2 R832 nest next. Just trying to make sure everything's nice and tight. Now, the CahowCam 2 nest has had some challenges, i.e. in the form of a extremely persistent, pesky little leech's storm petrel called Stormy. Stormy has been coming in every night. We've had parents feeding the last 2 nights. The female bird that fed the chick last night tried it at the beginning when Stormy first arrived to kick it out. And after a brief retreat, Stormy came back and hung the rest of the night right behind the tail feathers of the female bird as she tried to rest. She did feed the chick successfully. It's not stopping them from doing that. But basically, he has adapted this nest as his home. And, nobody is going to get him out of there. Not me. We tried it last year. We put him into a empty nest. He was right back 2 nights later into this nest. And not the combined efforts of both parents, 10 times heavier than him, and the chick, who's also about 10 times heavier as well. And the chick and him have been quite aggressive. They've been grabbing each other's bills. The chick has, manages to flip the storm petrel around a bit. The chick is getting more aggressive as it gets older, and this is normal. And I'm thinking that the petrel is going to have to watch itself. He tends to clamp down on the bill of the chick. The chick is not going to be harmed by this. You don't have to worry. This chick is so small compared to the chick. I don't think physically it's able to harm the chick. It's just annoying it very much. If the chick gets particularly aggressive, though, it could definitely do some damage, I think, to the storm petrel. I don't think any real harm. They don't bite as strongly as the adults do. But, I think the chick might be able to hold his own against this bird as it gets bigger. And the chick has been fed a lot. So let's take a look and see what the weight of the chick is right now, because it certainly looks like it's been growing pretty steadily. Okay. Okay, so we are going to see if the CahowCam 2, R832 chick, is reached a new record. Last check 4 days ago, it reached 360 grams. I believe it is more than that now. Oh, yes, definitely. Let's see, 397. So, let me see that again. 376 grams, okay. And so that is a new record. That's 16 grams up from last time, so that's a very good weight. So chick weight equals 376 grams. And then now let's see the wing chord. Let's see. It is a fat little dumpling there. Okay, here we go. That's over 100 millimeters now, which is about expected. Okay. Okay, it's 100. Wow, that has really grown. I think it was 92. It is 113 millimeters now. 113. Wow. So this one, the wings are growing in excess of, it's growing about a centimeter every 2 days, growing almost 2 centimeters since the last time. Okay, so we're going to take a look at our butter cube, or whatever we're going to call it. We still have to have an official naming and everything for these guys. So, we're going to see how it goes, and you can really see the wings. The primary feathers are emerging now, the coverts and such, which will give it the wing the aerodynamic airfoil shape. And the bill is growing. No facial whitening yet. It's still a bit too young to get the facial feathers coming in around the bill and such. Doesn't really have a tail bump either. But it's a very healthy chick. And I don't think there's any problems with that little tiny starling-sized storm petrel really causing any issues with this chick. We know from last year that, it doesn't, the parents obviously don't really see the storm petrel as a significant threat, because they've shown that they can and will defend the nest against other cahows, intruding cahows that are prospecting. With no problem whatsoever. So the fact that they're letting the storm petrel stay in the nest and actually leaving the chick with the storm petrel, I think just indicates that they don't really consider it a risk or a threat to the chick whatsoever. And, it's just like this strange little sort of live-in border that they have in their nest. So Yeah, I'm happy. All the chicks I've checked on Nonsuch so far. I still have 2 to do, but all of them have been in really good condition. A couple of them are well over 400 grams. These guys aren't quite at 400 grams anymore, but they're very close to it. So I'm very happy with how things are going. Okay, so yep, this is probably going to be the last check in April. The next 2 days, hard to believe. It looks so beautiful today, but the next 2 days are supposed to have gale force gusts and such as another cold front comes through. Been a very stormy month, unusually stormy in Bermuda for April. Um, probably the next check will be the beginning of May. So Jeremy Medeiros here in Nonsuch Island, JP Ruja on shore on Bermuda, coming to you, Nonsuch Island, Bermuda. Everybody have a great afternoon, a great Thursday, and we'll be seeing you soon. Stay safe in the COVID-19 pandemic that's going around right now and everything. We are still, we're going to be starting a phased reopening in Bermuda, but very, very slowly, depending on what happens. So, so far, so good. Everybody have a good day.